Hello, my name is Jacques Woodcock, and I'm going to be walking you through the internals of virtPHP today. Before we start, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. I have been a PHP JavaScript developer for over 10 years, and I've worked in Python, ActionScript, Cold Fusion, as well as a few other languages. Currently, I freelance writing PHP, JavaScript, Python, and I do some C for fun. I'm a big community supporter, and I'm also one of the co-authors of virtPHP with Ben Ramsey and Jordan Casper. So to start, let's talk a little bit about what PHP actually is. At its core, PHP is just a C application that gets run by a request method. Requests come in from a number of different methods. Web requests through Apache, FastCGI, or the built-in web server. Command line through the Bash or other shell systems. Each one of these methods handle sending the request to PHP and then the response back to the requester. In addition, each request handler has a method for configuring PHP. PHP is also very customizable and extendable, meaning you can configure it to work a specific way desired, as well as expand its capabilities by adding code to the core PHP application. For customization, PHP has a robust configuration file you can customize to need. This is your PHP INI file. It gets loaded each time PHP starts up. For extendability, there are two methods, one that actually extends PHP and the other one that actually extends your application. For actually extending PHP, you add things to its extensions directory. Extensions are libraries written in C and are imported into the core of PHP when compiled. These extensions are mostly managed using PECL. Extending your application used to be done using pair. Pair app packages were reusable components written in PHP that you could easily include into your application. The issue with using pair to install your components is that when you install one, it was installed globally into your PHP setup. Currently, pair is being replaced with Composer, which focuses on localized installation of components that's local to your application. However, Composer can also be used to globally install components like pair. Now that we understand the basics of how PHP works, let's find out what virtPHP actually is. Simply put, virtPHP wraps all of these extendable and customizable pieces of PHP and stores them safely away from the core. This allows you to keep your system PHP clean. What's also nice is that virtPHP allows you to set up multiple environments against the same system PHP. So if I had different requirements, for example, one environment needing a Mongo driver and the other one needing the traditional PDO, I could have both of those set up in separate environments and switch between them. In fact, you can do this as many times as you want, having as many environments as you desire. And if you want to use different builds of PHP, you can do that as well. You can have a 5.3 and a 5.5 with multiple environments under each one with different configurations. So great, how does virtPHP actually work? First, we create your environment folder. Then we create root folders underneath that. And then finally, we install a lot of files and other folders underneath that. In essence, what we're doing is duplicating the extension and configuration structure of PHP off into an isolated environment folder. Inside it, bin is your applications. Etsy is where your configurations go. Lib is where PECL extensions go. Share pair is where pair stuff goes. And share PHP is where pair packages are installed into. Inside this, we have our two important things that work together. First is the virtPHP var file, which is the actual application, and then the activate script. Think of them as the keymaster, which is the virtPHP var. It makes all the requests, setting up environments, and modifying them and customizing them. And then the gatekeeper, which is the activate file. The activate file sets up your environment to be working within the environment that you choose. It checks to see if the virtual env is running. Because we mimic what virtual environment is doing, we need to make sure we don't have any collisions there. Second, it checks if the virtPHP is running. If one is running, it'll ask you for permission to swap over to it. If you say yes, it'll deactivate any active virtPHP environment. It'll set shell session variables. We set our virtPHP environment path, which points to the activated environment. We set our virtPHP old virtual environment path so we can put things back when we're done. We update the path. We set our PHP scan directory so we know where the INI file is. And then finally we update the prompt. And this only works for the current terminal session. So if you wanted, you could set up multiple terminal sessions with different environments. So now I'm going to walk you through an actual demo. So for this demo, we're going to walk through some of the basic features of virtPHP. First, I'm showing you that we have no environment created. Next, we're going to go ahead and set up a few environments. And this is going to take a little bit because we're going to set up about 4 of them. And we've got to download all the composer and everything that goes into it and the pair files. So, but what I want to illustrate why this is going on is that virtPHP politely lets you know what we're doing, all the changes that we're making, and the steps that we're taking to do that. And in essence, what we're doing is we're setting up these mini extension and customization folders and just copying over that whole structure into these new environments. So they are truly isolated environments that match and play perfectly with the real environments. So we'll do a couple more right now. And that should be all of it. So now I'll show you which PHP we're currently running. You can see it thinks it's using the system environment path to the PHP. I'll also show you that we've got our 4 environments, episode 1, 4, 5, and 6. And next we'll go ahead and source episode 4. Now I'm going to show you where it thinks PHP is now. Now you can see it's the path to episode 4 and it's bin and its PHP directory inside of that. So what I'm going to do now is switch over to episode 5, but you see it'll ask you before it makes a switch. And here I'm going to say no, just because I wanted to illustrate what would happen if you ask to switch while you've got one environment already activated. Then you just to get out of the environment, you deactivate. So now let's go back into episode 5 and I'll show you which PHP. It thinks it's in episode 5 directory. Now let's clear this, and then I think I'm going to switch back over to episode 4, and then we'll start installing some extensions and stuff. So here I'm going to say yes, and you'll notice it switched me right over to episode 4 without having to deactivate episode 5. Okay, I'm going to deactivate episode 4 real quick. Now if you're like me, you wish that episode 1 was never created. So in this case I can execute my power and destroy episode 1. It's going to ask you if you're sure. I'm definitely sure in this case. And so now if I show you, you'll see we're just down to episodes 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so let's go back and source episode 4, and then we'll start installing something, I think. First we're going to start with the PECL install of Mongo. I'm going to say no to the enterprise support there. And you see everything goes through as it normally would. You get all the output from the installation. Okay, so if we run through, everything seems okay. And if I do a PECL list, you can see that the Mongo 1.55 is installed. And we'll source over to episode 5 real quick. Yes, I want to switch, and I'll do a PECL list again. Now you'll see that there's episode 5 doesn't have Mongo installed because it's per environment. So in episode 5, let's go ahead and install PHP unit. Again, the installation for PECL and pair and everything else is just normal. All we've done is altered your path files to show to install into different locations. And as you see, I did a which PHP unit. It's the one that's installed into your episode 5 environment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back over to episode 4. And I'm going to show you that PHP unit's not in episode 4. Now I created a getinfo PHP file real quick just so we can dump some information out. I'll grep for Mongo just to further illustrate. So PHP has Mongo installed here. Now I'm going to jump over to episode 5 again. And we'll do the same thing. You'll see there's no results for Mongo. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is creating an environment that's linked to a particular build of a PHP version. So this allows you to set up multiple environments attached to multiple versions of PHP. In this particular case, I'm going to hook up to 5.5.9. And when you do this, you always want to point to the bin directory because that's where the actual binary exists. We'll call this environment our new hope, do the installation. Again, I'll go through its steps. Now what I'm going to do is show you that we've got our new hope, that it's there. We'll do a version and show you that we're currently on 5.3.10. We'll source the new hope, do a version, and you see we're on 5.5.9. So any request I send to PHP now will use the 5.5.9. Okay, so I want to create one more time. I want to show you that how to set up an environment in a particular location. So by default, we store it all into the hidden directory in your user root. And this will allow us to set it into a particular location. Here I'm just going to set it in my user directory. Okay, so now if I show you, that custom path environment has a completely different path than the other ones because I specified exactly where it should go. But it will execute and function the same way as all the other environments, giving you all the capabilities. You could even hook it up to a unique build of PHP.